Hi everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome back for another episode of FPL Fix. Game week 5 was a horror show, but there's no point letting that get you down. Sometimes you've got to dust yourself down, pick yourself up and get back on track. My name's James and with me as normal is Patrick.
Hi everyone, what a game week. Red cards, busting clean sheets, and in some cases an unbelievable amount of points on a bench.
Yeah, tell me about it. Your bench nearly outscored my whole team. Anyway, in this episode we'll cover the most transferred players, the top targets for both wildcard and free hit managers, and we'll finish with our team reveals. Plus, one of us has a chip active this week.
Yeah, but before that let's take a quick look back at game week 5 and I'll kick things off. My team had a really strange game week. The red card for Sanchez meant that my 3 Chelsea players combined for -1 point. In defence, Juve got an assist, Van der Ven blanked, but Guehi picked up a solid 7 points through an assist and defensive contributions. In midfield, Bruno is the only player worth talking about. He was the hero and my top scorer with a massive 10-point return from a goal and max bonus points. On to strike, and there only one flopped. Watkins blanked again, which I wasn't surprised about by this point. But Richarlison and my captain Haaland both delivered 9 pointers, which made a massive difference to my game week and rank. So James, I know this is painful for you, but tell us about your game week and what went wrong.
I'm not sure we've got long enough to go over everything that went wrong, to be honest. On Saturday, I had 7 players active, and the only returns were from my captain with Salah getting a single assist, and my vice-captain Mateta, who scored once for 6 points. On Sunday, I didn't have too much confidence, but when Sunderland got a red card, I thought my Villa assets would finally come good, and expected at the very least a clean sheet for Konsa, and we all know how that worked out. 4 players, no returns, and 8 points to bring my total to 33, a big red arrow and massive drop in rank. Haaland outscoring Salah and being assisted by the man on my bench was just the icing on the cake, really.
Really tough result. I thought Watkins would get something after the Sunderland red card too, but the Villa attack is so blunt at the moment. Anyway, let's move on to game week 6 and I'll start things off with the most transferred players. Starting with the players being sold and the 3 Liverpool players on the chopping block.
Yeah, Salah's top. He's the most transferred player out this week. He's just not justifying his price at the moment, and he's the obvious route to fund Haaland. Ekitike is losing minutes to Isak now, and as for Wirtz, well, he's been one of the worst assets for managers who's stuck with him.
Sanchez is also being dumped after his red card. He's already served his ban, but I wouldn't be surprised if the manager benches him as punishment.
Yeah, and Chris Wood's on the list of transfers out too, which is interesting. We've had him as a buy option in the last few weeks, but Ange looks like he might prefer Igor Jesus, whose minutes could be rising now at the expense of Chris Wood. So those are the big exits, but where's all that money going? The answer, straight into Man City and Bournemouth assets.
Haaland is the most transferred player with nearly 800,000 managers moving him in so far. Senesi and Semenyo are next, and they've both been incredible assets this season. No surprise to see more transfers in for the Bournemouth pair.
Yeah, and back to City who take the last 2 spots with Reinders and Donnarumma. Reinders is cheap, nailed, and ticking over nicely for points in that midfield, while Donnarumma has hit the ground running in the Premier League, and he could well lead to more consistent clean sheets from the City defence. So those are the players on the move, but are they the right ones for this week? Let's see if any of them feature in the players to target section.
This is where chip strategy comes in, because loads of managers are activating their free hit or wildcard this week. Let's start with a free hit, and if you're using that chip, you're chasing the best 1 week punts. Man City, Spurs, Bournemouth and Everton all have great fixtures to target.
Starting in goal, and Donnarumma is the standout. Spurs' Vicario and Pickford are good alternatives, and Petrovic is a cheaper option, but still solid if you need funds elsewhere. Defensively, Senesi and Tarkowski are top. Both have great clean sheet and DEFCON potential, and Tarkowski offers set-piece threat against the West Ham side that struggles in the air.
Yeah, they could do really well this week. Moving on to midfield, Kudos is at the top of the list. He's looked electric for Spurs so far, and at home to Wolves I think he will do really well. Semenyo is the other midfield option, and he's been solid all season. He plays Leeds this week, so definitely one to look at, whether you're free hitting or not.
Yeah, and Iliman Ndiaye didn't make the top 2, but he's a lot cheaper and could well deserve a spot in the team. Up front and...
No, I'm taking over. These are my 2 strikers, so I will cover them. Haaland and Richarlison are the standout forward picks. Haaland would be the most captain player this weekend, so going without him could be really expensive. He's got great fixtures, he's been finding the back of the net, and he's the main man to target. Richarlison is next, And even though James is convinced his minutes are insecure, he's been playing enough of them and scoring whenever he does play, so Thomas Frank will keep trusting him, and I fully expect him to keep scoring over the next few matches.
Yeah, fair play, and you've done well to get on both of them early and been rewarded already. That's the 1 week punts covered, but what if you're playing the long game with a wild card? Here's who we like. And Arsenal and Newcastle join the conversation with their fixtures turning, but some of the free hit players we mentioned are still great shouts.
In goal, and I still think Donnarumma should be in a mix, but Pope and Raya both have great chances of getting a few clean sheets over the next games. In defence, Gabriel is still my pick of Arsenal defenders, even though Timber and Calafiori have had explosive starts, and Senesi is clear if you're looking outside of Arsenal.
Sticking to the Arsenal theme and moving into midfield, Saka's clear if he's fit and gets good minutes, so keep an eye on that before deadline. With Madueke injured for up to 2 months, I expect Saka to get pushed straight back into the team and involved straight away, but it might be worth holding off until game week 7 for more information on that. There are loads of great midfielders that we've already covered like Kudus and Semenyo, but Anthony Gordon could be a sneaky pick now he's back from suspension and with great fixtures ahead.
Yeah, in strike, and Haaland looks essential. He's got form and the fixtures, and as long as his back holds up, he'll definitely pick up points.
Yeah, definitely. But on a wildcard, there's actually a few other good options to go with him. Gyökeres hasn't looked great on the pitch, but he has been delivering points and will continue to with the fixture run Arsenal are going into.
Definitely, and Strand Larsen's another option I'll be looking at on a wildcard. Wolves haven't looked great, but if there's one player you want from that team, it's probably him. And they have some decent fixtures coming up as well. Okay, we've seen all the moves and players to target. Let's see if either of us are playing a chip this week, and we'll take a look at our team reveals for game week 6. James, why don't you start?
Okay, well I've made my 2 transfers already, and I think my team looks really strong this week. I've got 9 players with solid home fixtures, and only 2 playing away, which is against Leeds, so I'm hoping for a few more points this time round. Sells plays Sunderland, Van der Ven and Porro play bottom of the league Wolves, and I'm going with Cucurella, who starts over Konza for my last defender spot. My midfield looks solid, Rangers against Burnley, new signing Semenyo against Leeds, Ndoye against Sunderland, and I have another benching decision with Rodgers and Gakpo, but I'm currently starting the Liverpool man. My 3 at the top are Evan Nielsen against Leeds, Watkins against Fulham, and the triple captain is active on Haaland for my first chip of the season. This game week for triple captain has been my plan for a while now, and he's got the form and the fixture to knock it out of the park, but he does have a yellow flag and some slight doubt there, so there's a small chance the chip does get deactivated before deadline depending on news. How's your team lining up, mate? Any chips in play?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't activated it yet, but I'm very tempted to triple captain Haaland this week as well. Here's my team for game week 6. I've got Sanchez in goal against Brighton, with a back 3 of Maguire, Van der Ven and Diouf, decent fixtures, and hopefully at least one of them can get a clean sheet in there. Midfield is where the points should come through though. Kudos at home to Wolves looks great, Bruno should be a threat against Brentford, and I've got Enzo against Brighton. Reinders away to Burnley is my vice captain, and then there's Saka away to Newcastle, who I'm really hoping is fit to start. Loads of potential, but also a couple risks in there. Up front, it's Richarlison at home to Wolves, and of course Haaland as captain against Burnley. And I'm benching Watkins, even with his good fixtures, because I've had enough of him and Villa. I haven't activated a chip yet, but I'm seriously tempted to triple captain Haaland, depending on the news before the deadline.
Yeah, your team looks good for this week. I wonder if you will end up using the triple captain chip.
Well, we will just have to wait and see. That's a wrap for game week 6. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like and subscribe. And let us know in the comments if you're brave enough to triple captain Haaland this week, or what chip you're playing.
And you can follow us on X at Weekend Fix for last minute tips and advice ahead of the deadline. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.